for collecting data. So we'll focus mainly on data collection process, and or we can call it data creation process for building speech technologies. So we have been working on a couple of projects together, and we hope that we'll be able to give. So the idea is that we talk about the nitty-gritties of collecting data, what all it involves, and also probably give a roadmap if you want to, uh, take up this kind of work or this kind of project. Okay, so all our slides and all our talk uh, throughout this is we have prepared this keeping in mind that this will be attended by the community members. So there are primary target audience in mind. Now, if you are already aware of some of the things that we are talking about, or that seems a little too introductory, it's possibly because our target audience are the community members, the primary target audience. But of course, we are also uh, trying to say something for civil society organizations, those who interact with the communities at different levels, not necessarily for building technologies, but also for training them or um, working in different aspects of uh, overall life. And the two other uh, group of people, so researchers and academics, if you're not working in computational linguistics, or if you're only at the periphery of things, then it might be useful for you for some parts of this might be useful for you. And finally, developers and innovators. So these are the if you're from an organization that's looking to build language technologies, then this will be for you as well. So uh, uh, so no, since we're focusing on data collection, so this will be before the technology development begins. What happens then? Okay, so there are three broad things that we'll be talking about. The first is we'll explore the some of the initiatives and some of the things that we are doing to enable technology development for underrepresented communities. In general, that the approach and the way we work with or we work in for building language technologies differ a lot depending on the size of the community and size of the language. So if you're working for a major language like Telugu or say Tamil or Hindi, uh, in a lot of ways that will be very different from say when you're working for a community like Toto or for say Irula, which have very few speakers and the community size is really small. So a lot of things that have been developed for those bigger languages, bigger communities may not work, may not be relevant when you're working with smaller communities. And then, of course, we'll talk about our projects, what we have tried to do, the kind of data set that we have built, and if what could be one possible pathway to building such data sets. Okay, so these are the two major languages and major communities with whom we have worked, and which will be so what we'll be talking about is our experiences of working with these two languages, Toto and Irula. Toto is in case you are not aware of this, so Toto is a Tibeto-Burman language which is spoken by a few hundred speakers in Totopada in West Bengal. So it's a uh, very near to it's a North Bengal uh, community very near to Bhutan border. And Irula is a Dravidian language, almost on the other end of India. It's spoken in, they reside in Nilgiri Hills and across Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, a relatively bigger community because they're spread across multiple states, but it's still not really a huge, so a few thousand speakers, a few thousand members. Both of these languages are classified as endangered languages in the sense that over the next few years, so let's say next 50 years, next 100 years, we may not be left with any speakers speaking the languages if positive interventions are not made at this point. So of course there are other so at this point we are working with 70 plus other communities across India, And the idea is also not just for data collection, but involving them as co-participants in building the models as well, not just as informants. So there are three significant challenges that we try to address when we work with smaller communities. The first one is the technical know-how and understanding among the community members. So for again, so the comparison will always be the major languages and the bigger communities, where the if you'll find a large number of people say speaking Telugu in getting involved in technology development, right? But for communities like Toto and Irula, where literacy itself is pretty low, uh, relatively very low, and the community size is also not large enough to to have a huge number of people having lot of understanding of how things are working. So involving them in the research process, and as I said, so it's not just about involving them for eliciting the data, right? It's not about recording their language. So it's about working with us on building the technologies that is useful for them, that they're going to use in some ways or the other, right? So and for both of the communities in our present scenario, for both Toto and Irula, the community is really interested in, when I say community, I mean a large number of people from the community, not as a homogeneous entity, but a large number of people from the community. They are interested in writing down the language. I know that interest is there. They would like to work on doing it, but how to go about it, that's a very different story altogether. So that's one level of challenge of involving the community members. And of course, there are the other two challenges. Uh, Local processing of these are the technological challenges. So uh, when you're trying to access models, etc., from a remote location, or when you're trying to run models on cloud spaces, the cost and the accessibility itself are really difficult. So those are the two challenges which becomes bigger when you move to remote locations and when you move to the communities where, say, broadband connectivity, which is taken for granted in a city like Hyderabad or in Delhi, is not available. So for example, when we're working with Irula, uh, the the villages where people live, there was no mobile network. So absolutely no mobile network. So the mobiles are as good as useless, because you won't get any. It was not that it will come at some place, it will not come at some place. You have to move little far away from the villages to get the mobile network. Now, how do you look at building technologies, language technologies, which is dependent on so much of resources of all kinds in those communities, and deploy there? So I don't think we'll be able to talk about all of those in this 45-minute session, but those are some of the challenges that we try and work around or work with. Okay, so for the first one, the challenge about know-how, we very recently started a W2M program. So this is a community training program where we go to the field, go to the communities, and try and train them in different aspects of technology development. So that again it starts from collecting the data, but goes up to training the models. So the first program that we did, I think a couple of months ago, a few months ago, with Irula, and the picture that you see on the top is from that program. And uh, a lot of the people that you see, they are the Irula community members who worked with us, who attended the program and worked with us. It was a 10-day, very rigorous program. And I mean, almost 12 hours per day of training and hands-on sessions. So they attended through it, and the whole of the training ended up building some data set for Irula. In fact, on the last day of the session, we ended up training an ASR model for the language as well. Not a great model, because 10 days is obviously very small amount of time when you're also training people how to do it. But there was some model that was trained, and the model that was trained locally. So we didn't have really, it was not run on the cloud. So that's one training program which we are trying to expand to more communities, to more languages, and we are hoping to have more such programs at a greater frequency. Now, the second thing that we are trying to do at this point is to focus more on co-creating linguistic resources for indigenous languages of India. So this is a project that started, I think, a couple of years ago, and as of now, so this is the project under which I mentioned 70 plus languages. So this is the project under which we are working with them, and uh, this involved a more informal training, unlike the WTM, which is a more rigorous end-to-end training program. So this involved more informal training, but mostly training about building data sets. Right? So how do you build data sets? And then, of course, depending on the on a lot of other factors, the for almost all of those 70 languages, we now currently have around 4 to 5 hours of data, which is rather richly annotated and something which is going to be used for, again, model building if one wants to, if the community is interested in building the models. There are a lot of other things that different communities would want to do with the data, right? So it's only it could be used only for preservation of the languages and culture and things like that. Now the third aspect, the third thing that we work on is trying to build assistive technologies that could help communities and help people in building those data sets and in building those models. So there are a couple of apps that helps in organizing the data collection effort, and these apps are built with uh, communities in mind, with the aim that it should be easy for anyone to pick up the app and do the data collection for themselves, right? So for their own language, and then process. And so the whole process of data building involves several steps. uh, Dr. Lahiri will talk a little bit more about that, but these apps are basically meant to help and to ease those uh, processes, and not really ease those processes, but to help the communities in going through that. So these are all the different uh, tools, and this one is the no code model building tool, where you don't really need to code everything up. So you just upload your data, click a button, and you get the uh, you train the model. So something as simple as that. It still needs some understanding, and that's where the W2M program comes into picture. We try and explain how this works and what are the kind of things that it does. Okay, so that's the complete pipeline that we look at for building the models, starting with data collection, processing, and then building the models. Okay, over to Dr. Lahiri.
Thank you. So, so whatever we do, we need the data sets, and I will talk about how we actually work in data collection. So, data collection again, when we are talking about these communities, we know that they are under resourced and we hardly find any corpus or any already documented data for these languages. So, what we do, there are various methods which we follow. It's not very basic, but it's actually multi-dimensional ways that we follow. So, some of the methods that we would like to discuss are speech to speech translation, because when we want speech data, what we ask them is we have a questionnaire, which we can also say as translation method, where we have questionnaires which basically are sentences or word lists, and we ask the language experts to translate those for us. Again, when I am saying about these translation methods, it's not like we can find lots of these type of questionnaires across the internet. There are questionnaires by Max Planck Institute and other institutes, but these, whenever we take them, we need to customize them. So if talking about Totopara, when we were preparing our Toto questionnaire or Toto translation list, we actually took help from a Toto member. So there was Shanti Toto who was helping me create the questionnaire. So that way we customize it. I will talk a little more about it. We also create stimuli guided narration. So there can be certain movies like videos of 1 minute, 2 minutes without any sound because we don't provide dialogues in that. And the language experts are asked to describe what's happening, which gives us very fluent speech. That's way they speak, because in translation method at times it is little the speakers might get little conscious, or the speakers might not remember or recall exact words, and all these are very easily can be done through narration methods, where we can give them stimuli, where we can even ask them to talk a little about their day to day life, about their siblings, about their children, whatever give them any topic, any story, and they will talk about it. And that can be 1 minute, 2 minutes, and we record that. That is good for fluent speech. Also, role play. So, role plays are very interesting because that is not only that not only gives us data but also is very entertaining for the participants. So what happens that we give different roles to different speakers. So one can play the role of a bank manager, another the customer, and we ask them to discuss how will you talk if you want to take loan from the bank. So the manager will describe everything in, for example, here in Toto, the manager will describe everything in Toto, how to apply for loan, how to fill the forms and all. And the customer will again have his or her queries in the same language. So this is a natural environment that we want to create, because of course we can't go to the bank and disturb everything and collect data. So these type of smaller scenarios we create, and we ask the language experts to talk or enact those roles in their own language. And of course spontaneous conversations, where we just in the natural setting, if people are talking, we take permission, consent, and we just record them. So maybe a child is talking to her parents, or friends are just there sitting chatting, we take their permission and we record it. We can sometimes also give them certain topics of for discussion, like what do you think, are people shifting from Toto to Nepali or Bangla, and they can have their own opinions about it. So these are the some of the methods. So already, as I said, there are lots of standardized questionnaires or elicitation tools available. So elicitation is the method which we call for collecting data. And as you see, there are lots of lists of all these questionnaires. But whenever we are talking about these questionnaires, we never can blindly copy them. Why? Because one thing is, if I make a questionnaire for, say, Irula, which is spoken in near Coimbatore, and Toto, which is spoken near Darjeeling. So these the same questionnaire can't fit each other because the geographical scenario is different, and that's why the lifestyle is very different. So we always need to customize our questionnaire according to our need or according to the community. So what we mainly do is that we have a pilot survey about the community, we know about the community, we speak with the community members, and then according to that we change our questionnaires. Role play is, as I said, it is very fun, and also at the same time it gives us naturalistic approach of collecting data. People working in fields are given a situation and where they actually enact that, and that's how we get the natural data. So, whenever we are talking about data, one thing again I will like to mention, I will just like to give one example. When I was saying about customizing the questionnaire, I had certain words in my, I think I have it here somewhere. We had questionnaire where we had words like thief and stealing. So my language expert Shanti Toto, she told me that in Toto generally we don't have words like thief and stealing. So we have some Toto friends here. I think they can say if I am wrong. So she said that because the community doesn't have the concept of stealing or thief, so they don't have words as such. Even they initially, traditionally, they didn't even had locks or latches in their door, because the community actually, the whole village is like a family. So if I want, I will take your thing, I will return it back when my work is done. Or if I take it, I will inform you afterwards that I have taken your thing, I used it, I needed it. So no one minds. It's the way of their world, viewing the world, which is very different from maybe our modern setup. So if we are preparing a questionnaire, that always needs to be customized according to the community. Similarly, like in Totopara, we found lots of jackfruits. So if I ask them to translate a sentence like Ram ate an apple, that would look very alien. But if I change the sentence into Shanti Toto ate a jackfruit, that would be very relatable to the community and they can easily translate that. So we always need to make the whole questionnaire, whether it's translation or even the role play or the narration stimulus, we always need to make it more relatable to the community, and that's what we always try. And when we are talking about that, then what we need is we also need the cooperation of the community members and help from the community members. I can't say that I am a linguist, I am a researcher, and I can make my own questionnaire. I will always need their help to guide me about their community. And that's what we believe, and that's how we work in collaboration with the community members. Also, about this a particular project where we are working on Toto language. This is a project sponsored by MITI. We are collecting around 100 to 150 hours of data. We have already done that. And what we look at is also balanced data. By balanced data, what we mean is balance in every way. Gender balance, like it should be collected from both male, female. Age also, it should be like, even as you can see in the picture, the older members are involved as well as the teenagers are also involved. This is very important to collect, to know about the community and the language properly, and also to see the difference. Sometimes there are intergenerational differences in the language use, and that we can even find in the major languages. Like whatever language we speak, Telugu, Hindi, Bengali, we will see that might be our grandmothers spoke or speak in a little different way than we speak. So to cover all the varieties of the same speech, we need to be more inclusive. That's what we aim to do. Also from different socio-economic backgrounds, people who are maybe some people are well educated while others are not so well educated, some are quite rich while others are not. So to incorporate and include everyone for a very balanced data, so that we have all the varieties included in our data. Also, as I said, regional varieties. So there are different varieties depending on the region as well. Like when we talk about Toto, though Toto is a very small community, so we don't find much varieties, but still they have different smaller areas like Puja Gaon and other gaons, right? So we ideally, and we do that, we visit all these places so that again we can have a holistic knowledge about the language. Our data is well reflected or well inclusive. Of course, ethical considerations are very important thing, and that's why whenever we engage with a community, we take their permission, so that we they know why the data is being collected, why we are collecting it. Ethical practice requires a move from avoidance to engagement. So basically, the community members are engaged here. They contribute from the beginning, like from making or designing the questionnaire, providing us data. And sometimes also we are being told recently, uh, some of our members are already in the Toto field, and they told us that some members are saying we will not fill the questionnaire, it looks little boring. So that is also feedback which we should incorporate, and I said that okay, that's our fault, we need to redesign it so that it's not very boring and it's engaging for them. So we also try to incorporate all of their suggestions, and of course respecting their culture, their language, and their knowledge about their surroundings, so so that it looks interesting to them, and the community members have the right to say whether it's boring or interesting, or whether they want the data to be collected in a particular manner. So that right has to be there, which is there, and also respecting their culture, their custom, giving a proper value to their realities, because worldviews and realities vary. Our own worldview, our own lifestyle is very different from some other community. So everywhere we can see that difference, and that difference we want to incorporate, we want to respect, and of course we want to reciprocate to that, making development fully beneficial for them and acknowledging their effort in that, in whatever data they are giving. So of course we have the metadata, from whoever we are collecting data, we have all their metadata, all their information with that. So this as I mentioned, this study of Toto is being done under a project which we call speed tb. Here we are working on other languages as well. So we have languages like, you can see, Bodo from Assam, Toto from West Bengal, Nishi from Arunachal Pradesh, Matei from Manipur, and Chokri from Nagaland, and Kokborok from Tripura. All of these languages are less resourced. We do not find much resource for all these languages. And in IIT Kharagpur, we are looking at Toto and Nishi languages. So basically, for all these languages, we are collecting primary data. We are going to the field. We are talking to our community members and trying to create speech corpus for these languages. Our aim is to create 200 hours of speech data for all of these languages. So again, as I said, that when we are working with the data work, so they are basically not data workers, they are our research assistants, where they are helping us to create the design the questionnaire as well as to collect the data. So before field work, we prepare questionnaires, as I said, and of course we design it to make it very culturally appropriate. Now lots of times different things happen. Something which is very normal for me might not be normal or might not be even ethical for the community, or something which looks very immoral or unethical to me might be a okay practice for the other community. So we can't go to the field with that judgment in our mind, or we can't go or communicate with the members carrying that feeling that okay, this is wrong, this is right, or that is. So with a very open mind we start our work, where of course we collect primary data, and also nowadays we get some data from the secondary sources as well, though it's very very minimal. We have some YouTube channels for Toto songs and all, but then they are again very minimal, very less. uh, as I was saying, we adapt questionnaires. So initial questionnaire for us in Toto had words like locks and keys, exam, thieves, all of these words, which were actually changed after consulting the members. And we had the other questionnaire about agricultural adaptation, because when we are collecting data or creating speech corpus under this project, we are working on certain domains like agriculture, science and technology, and education. So these are our main domains, also followed by entertainment. Now, when we want to collect data related to agriculture, we actually got lots of agricultural books and we wanted them to be translated in Toto. But then there were certain things which are not available in Totopara. So those didn't make any sense. Rather, their way of growing maize and preserving them without refrigerator was very, very important. And also we can see that they are very ecologically balanced thing. They don't need refrigerators to preserve jackfruits or maize. They have a very traditional way of preserving them and growing them. So those things were more important. So our focus shifted to their community based thing, how they actually grow their things. Again, when we look at more traditional materials of agriculture, we see that cows and buffaloes and goats are talked about for agriculture purpose. These animals are used. But in Totopara, we see lots of pigs or piglets are being used. They help them in farming the land. So these are again specific to this particular area where we focused, and then we asked about how do you use these animals in agriculture. So that was again a shift. And if I would have asked about cows and buffaloes, then I would not get much data, or I would not get the real scenario of that area. So when we are talking about language, language is related to our day to day life, our daily lifestyle. So it has to be based in our daily lifestyle. So which is reflected in every domain, may it be science and technology, agriculture, and entertainment. So three ways in which we approach this approach is ethical is that it talks about agency and ownership. So the community contributors have a say in every stage of recording. They can they not only give us their data, they not only record, they also validate it. So if we have collected from certain few members, we get it cross checked by the other few members of the same community. So if there are certain mistakes, or if there is a mixture of Nepali and Toto, because most of the Toto speakers can speak Nepali, Bangla, and other languages, so these can be cleared, or the data can be cleaned. Also, there is research assistants who are recognized as collaborators, and also uh, they are not just there as employees who are being paid for their data, but also their knowledge of the language and as an expertise, their help is always taken. Because they understand the local norms and sensitivities and meanings, data collected reflects more real linguistic and cultural context, because they are the best speakers to tell about their geography and their lifestyle. We are outsiders, we can't make it justified. So now I have visited Totopara twice. I know about the area. I know a lot about the geography and all. So I can talk a little bit about it. But then again, they are the best ones. They live there. They know the area better. So that's why it is always good to take their help, and that is true for every other community where we work in collaboration with them. So, empowering underdeserved languages or under-resourced languages, how do we do a step-by-step approach? So, first is about questionnaire designing, followed by data collection, acquisition, and before that, of course, we prepare our collection method. And then, when we have our data collected, we a huge task is on management and transcription. So whenever we are collecting data, generally we transcribe it. And when I say transcription, it is also done in IPA, which is International Phonetic Alphabets. In International Phonetic Alphabets, we can write each and every sound of any language. And unlike any other script, symbol and the sound, there is one-to-one match. So like if I talk about English, A sound can stand for different types of sounds. Like A for aeroplane, A for apple. So there is A, and apple is A, right? It's not apple. I will not say that, right? So A sound stands for aeroplane and also A, apple, right? So, and there are lists of it. There can be different. Similarly, first sound can be written by F, and first sound can also be written by PH, something like that, right? So you will not find one-to-one match in most of the scripts across the world. But in IPA, you will always, there are set of symbols which stands for a particular sound. There is one-to-one match. So for most of the languages, we need to transcribe it into IPA, where we actually write it in International Phonetic Alphabets for the proper and accurate pronunciation. So, if I write something in IPA, someone knows IPA will read it exactly the same. It will not depend on his or her just guessing or just saying what is there. So, it is always one-to-one match. So, that is basically how we are working on Toto and Irula. we are also working on, as I said, Nishi and other languages, but Toto and Irura are really smaller languages, and we have actually our work is almost complete for Toto, where we will collect some more data, and we will soon give something back to the community, which the community can use for their own benefit or for their own usage. Okay, you would like to add something? So any questions, any comments, we will be happy to take it. So some of the Toto friends are here. So will you like to come? You were there, right? In the our field assistants were there now, and they talk to you. So will you like to come and say something about our work? Yes. So he was helping us with our data collection process. Yes.
Hello, hello, good evening. Actually, the works, whatever they are doing in our Tutupada is very excellent. We never thought like, like it's one kind of platform they are giving, and even it's a very big contributions. I feel like that, we Toto people still in so much backwarded, like nobody, they gone in graduations, even I'm the first one who done the masters. So in education process, if we go and search about the Toto community, then it very backward it's. So this kind of platforms and this kind of this thing is very new for us. So very big appreciations for this, ma'am. You are giving us such bright and future tools for us. So thank you.
You can also say something if you did like something.
Okay.
So, okay, Bharat Toto is actually helping us a lot, right?
Yeah.
And yes. So, other people, will someone like to say something? So, also you can see that sometimes these works are very boring, right? And the speakers might feel it very boring, and that's our duty how to make it more engaging, more entertaining. So, yes, that is there. So, anyone, do you think anyone else will like to say something?
Uh,
If they want, they can say in Bangla, I can translate.
Bangla se জানতে পারবো এটা দেখো। I think the first time, sir.
Yes, coming.
Enter with the name, it's a-
Yes. You want to choose বাংলায় বলবে? হ্যাঁ বাংলায় বলো, আমি ট্রান্সলেট করবো।
ফার্স্ট টাইম বই পাইতেছি।
কিছু কিছু
হ্যালো এভরিওয়ান, আমার নাম হচ্ছে বেবিকা টোটো। আমার বাড়ি হচ্ছে টোটোপাড়া, ডিস্ট্রিক্ট আলিপুরদুয়ার, ব্লক মাদারিহাট। সো আমি স্টুডেন্ট, 11 ক্লাসে পড়াশোনা করি আমি। সো হ্যাঁ জাঙ্গুস ফার্স্ট টাইম kamu churuga
We're very sorry because she's the first time standing stage, and from the remote areas to come in the big stage and saying to all is very big things, and so it's a little bit nervous. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it is actually sometimes we all get nervous coming to the dais or stage. So it's really brave of her that she came on the stage and she spoke. She studies in 11, right? And she's a student, and she just mentioned where is her locality about Totopara and all, right? Yeah. So any comments or any questions, we will be happy to answer. Demonstrate, yes, we have.
We generally collect. We generally collect audio recordings, not videos. We have the audio data if you'd want to, I mean, listen to it. Yeah, this so okay. The data sets are all basically.
So this is Toto data which we are going to play. Hmm. I hope it's audible.
Kapujata nagaya tangkwa hearing kuita asa nedong ta yata tao gi chen dia mem jing dia asa ibya ike kap ko ja ko dia mabne chen da uda shu 追捧是刘队的哪一个在背
So will you like to say the meaning? Translate it. That would be helpful. So that will also verify that whether it's Toto data or not. Whether I am showing you Irula data, I'm saying Toto or not.
Let's play once more.
Once more.
Till it.
Kapujata nagaya tangkwa hearing kuita asa nedong ta yata tao gi chen dia
It means in ancient period, our Toto peoples, mostly women, used to wear the bangles in a very like own handmade styles. But now it is we used to buy from others communities. That's all.
No, this is a Toto language. It is spoken in West Bengal. Yes. Toto Para shares border with Bhutan, Indo-Bhutan. Yes. And it is a Tibeto-Burman language. Okay, thank you.